In this lecture, we're going to create our admin module. Again, just like the last lecture, first, before we create the admin module, we should put our classes in the right folder. So here in the admin folder, we already have these components, but I want to put them under another folder called components. And also I want to move this admin OSGuard to admin/services. So I'm going to pause the recording and I want you to make the same changes and then we'll review the result together. So this is what we should have under the admin folder. We've got components, 3 components, admin orders, admin product, and product form. We also have services where we have only admin OSGuard service. So we haven't created the admin module yet. All we did was simply moving the files and folders in the right location. And you can see our application is running, no problem here. So now we're ready to create the admin module. Once again, in the terminal, ng gm admin. So we get a new module file. Now let's go to admin.module. Here in the declarations array, I want to put all those admin components. So I'm going to go to app module and move those components here. Let's go to app module. Here are admin products component and admin orders component. I'm going to cut these, put them next to product form, and now take the 3 of them together and move them to our admin module. Like this. Now let's import all these classes. All right, in this module, we don't have any services, so we don't need to add the providers array. Also, we're not going to use any of these components outside this module, so we don't have to export them. All these components are used internally. Now, let me clarify something. When I say we are not going to use any of these components outside this module, what I mean is that nowhere in the application in our template, we're going to use an element that represents one of these components here. For example, let's take a look at admin products component. So admin products, look, the selector here is app-admin-products. So we're not going to use this as an element anywhere in our application. In contrast, when we created our shared module, we had the product card component. Let's have a look there. So product card component. Look, the selector is product card. We use this as an element in the template for shopping cart component. That's why we exported this component from our shared module. But in app module, we don't need to export any of these components. All these components are placed in the DOM via the router. All right, now that we have this admin module, we need to import it into our main app module so we can use it. Let's go to app module. Here in the imports array, I'm going to add admin module. Now let's test the application. Back in the browser, we get this error. There is no directive with export as set to ng form. So we have a form where we have referenced ng form. And this is defined in admin module product form component.html. So on the template of product form component, which is part of the admin module, we have used ng form. And ng form, as you learned in the section about forms, is a directive that is defined in the forms module in Angular. So this admin module has a dependency to forms module. Now back in app module, you can see we have added forms module in the imports array. And that's why we didn't get that error before when the product form component was part of the app module. So in order to fix this issue, we need to go to admin module and specify the dependencies of this module. So we add forms module. In other words, you should think of every module in an Angular application in an isolated world. It doesn't care what other modules you have in the application. If there are components, directives, and pipes that are defined somewhere else and you have used them in the components in this module, you need to bring in those components, pipes, or directives into this module. Now, let's save this, go back to the browser. We have another error. This time, the error is about product card. So we define this in our shared module. And look, this error is coming from this file. Admin module, product form, component.html. Because in our product form, we use the product card component. Now, this product card component is defined in the shared module. So once again, we need to import that shared module in the admin module. So, shared module. Now, one more time, back in the browser. This time we have a different error. And that is about data table. So, in this template, admin products component.html, we have used the data table component. Again, this is defined somewhere else. So our admin module has a dependency to the data table module. So back in app module, look, in the imports array, we have data table module. Now this should also be one of the dependencies of the admin module. So I'm going to copy this from here and put it in the imports array of admin module. Now I didn't delete this from the imports array in the app module because chances are I might have another component in this module that might need the data table. So I don't want to mess up with that component. I only want to add the dependencies of the admin module. Now, back in the browser. And I guess this is probably the last error. Can't bind to router link since it isn't a known property of A. So in the template of admin products component, we use the router link directive. As you know, this directive is defined in the router module. So router module is also a dependency of the admin module, and we need to explicitly import it. This is how we import the router module. We call the static method for route and give it an array of routes. We're going to use a similar technique in our admin module, but instead of calling the for route method, we're going to call for child, because we use the for route method only for the root module of the application. In any other module which we refer to as a feature module, we should use for child. So to save time, I'm going to copy this router module and the entire routes array. I'm going to copy it all back to admin module and paste it in the imports array. Now, first I'm going to import the router module from Angular router. Then I'm going to change for root to for child. And finally, I'm going to remove all these routes except the routes that belong to the admin module. So admin/products/new and these other routes here. So you can see with modules, we can also encapsulate the routes that belong to that area of functionality in the application. This way, we don't end up with a fat routes array in app module. Now finally, let's import authguard from shared/services/authguard and admin authguard from services/admin authguard service. So this authguard is part of our shared module that we're reusing here, but admin authguard is a service that is defined inside this module. We're not going to use this anywhere else in the application, only in the admin module. That's why I decided to move this service inside the admin module. And finally, let's have one more look at the application. So beautiful, no more errors. Next, we're going to create another module called shopping module.